Hello and welcome once again to the Love Spoon Workshop. Now in this video we are sharing with you some of the machines that we use here at our family workshop on a daily basis to help us to make our scroll saw projects, our wood carving projects and making our love spoons. So for those of you who are interested in developing your own workshop, this might be useful as some suggestions for the equipment you might want to buy. So to start off, you can see us demonstrating the skills that we use predominantly. So the scroll saw and the hand carving skills, those are the two areas that we spend most of our time and attention upon. The scroll saw is perfect for cutting out those outlines, for doing that pierce work, all of the internal cuts, and the hand carving is where we really add all of the character and detail to the work that we do. So regardless of the project, it usually works out that at some stage we are working with our hand carving skills and our scroll sawing skills. So that's the idea, is to introduce to you that we are mainly working with those two processes. But those are not the only things that we use. And some of the equipment that we have is to prepare the woods and to prepare the projects for when we then go on to utilizing our hand carving skills and our scroll sawing skills. Now, the scroll saw has very much become the cornerstone of what we do, and our hand carving skills, they are absolutely essential. So that is why we've introduced those things first. On to our first machine though, and we are looking at the belt sander. Now in our workshop we have two very strong belt sanders. The reason we have two is they are different grades of sandpaper, and it means that we're not constantly having to change the belts over. So the ways that we use the belt sander is to prepare the woods to flatten off the back of the projects that we're doing. We also use the belt sander during the project. So we use it to take the paper off the designs if we have used a method of gluing paper onto the wood itself. We will also then use the belt sander after we have done our scroll sawing and hand carving, because we can use quite fine belts and this will allow us just to smooth everything off. The belt sanders that we've got then have got a disc on the side. And again, this is a useful attachment because it allows us to shape the projects that we are working on. So the belt attachment isn't something that we're always working on, but it certainly proves useful to us. And I would say that this is one of the most essential machines that we own. Now on to our second machine, and this is a lovely piece of equipment to work on. This is our Coronet Saw, and this is brilliant for doing certain projects. Now, Dad owned one of these over 30 years ago when he first bought the first Coronet Saw that he owned. And he did all sorts of different projects, including some that we've demonstrated. The doll's house, pen holders, money boxes, these sorts of things. It's a lovely machine for working in because it is so accurate. It can be used for cutting grooves out, for cutting basic shapes. So for example, our doll's house was entirely made using our Coronet Saw. But it's a fantastic piece of equipment to use. It is versatile and you can make fine adjustments on this saw, ideal for projects that need accurate cuts and fine adjustments when working on the different projects. Coronet saws now, they're very rare, you don't see them very often, but you will see similar saws and similar equipment available, and you may consider then getting these because they're perfect for preparing and doing various projects. On to our next machine then, and we're looking at the oscillating sander. Now from the outset, I'll admit that this isn't one that is in daily use, but we do use it regularly, and there are two main methods that we would use it for. The one method is to sand out the inside of, for example, clock movements. So when we cut out our recess to put the clock movement into the surround, we would be working on the scroll saw initially, and then the oscillating sander to finish things off. The other method you can see us demonstrating is to use it to finish things off in terms of doing some chip style decoration. On to another piece of equipment that is definitely in daily use, and that is our pillar drills. These are fantastic for the style of work that we do. We use them in a few different methods. The main one is to drill the hole that will be used later on to do our pierce work. So what we do, we have two different pillar drills. One is a standard style pillar drill, and we tend to have a slightly larger drill bit. The other is a hand drill inside a frame, and we put a finer drill inside, and this is then used for cutting those very fine holes that we can do because we use those pinless blades on our scroll saw. You can also then see that there are other methods that we use when working with our pillar drills. So at different times, including last year for our Christmas projects where we did the Three Wise Men candle holder, we used a wider cutter to cut out a recess that can be used to put the tea lights into. We also used it then for things like the pen holder projects, for drilling a hole so the pens can be dropped into the hole. Now the next piece of equipment that we use, again, it's an essential piece of kit for ourselves, and that is the bandsaw. Now we use the bandsaw quite often in conjunction with the scroll saw. The bandsaw leaves more marks when cutting an outline, but it is faster than cutting with the scroll saw. Its disadvantage when compared to the scroll saw is the scroll saw produces a much finer and higher quality cuts, and it can be used for doing internal cuts as well, as the design of the bandsaw doesn't allow this. But there you go, that is just to give you an insight into some of the other pieces of equipment that we use here at our family workshop. Hopefully that's useful. This is just to give you a few ideas of the projects that we've used it to make. So some ideas that you might consider this equipment for using. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell if you like what you see. If you've enjoyed this, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. It helps us to make more videos. As always, thank you again for watching, and we'll be back again soon with more videos.